says, "And Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. And turning and seeing his disciples, he rebuked Peter and said, 'Get behind me, Satan, for you are not setting your mind on the things of God, but on the things of man.'" So Jesus looks at Peter. He rebukes him. He looks at Peter and he sees Satan trying to stop him from going to the cross. And that was the last thing Jesus was going to let him do. So he let Peter and the disciples know that his death was God's plan. We could say it this way. The disciples planned to crown him as a royal king, but God's plan was for him to be nailed to a bloody cross. Showing that the way to God is down, it's not up. The way to God is through humility, it's not through pride. The way to God is through a bloody cross, it's not through green pastures. Yes, God lays us down in green pastures. God works miracles. God heals. God provides and God protects and God satisfies. And we can praise the Lord for all of these things. And we want to remember these things during this time. But we must also know that Jesus' crown came with a bloody cross. Christianity, void of the cross, it's not Christianity. It's a form of deistic moralism that does not save, and it certainly will not fully satisfy. The only way to find full satisfaction, full healing, and to see the greatest miracles is through Jesus' sacrifice to the cross. He had to go to the cross, which leads us to our third point. Jesus disciples through sacrifice. Jesus is continuing to teach his disciples, but he's discipling them towards something that they were not expecting. They weren't expecting this. In the remaining of the chapter, we see the idea Jesus is the suffering servant. If Jesus, the Son of Man, if Jesus, the Master, the King of God's kingdom, came with a road of suffering and great sacrifice, his disciples should expect the exact same road. If Jesus the Christ, the Son of God, came as a humble servant, his disciples should expect the exact same. So when the suffering servant disciples, showing great sacrifice, his followers, his disciples, must follow his lead.